In this problem, we're going to be adding or subtracting three decimal numbers. We have a negative 2.2 minus 1.7 plus 8. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change it to all addition. So let's convert this expression into negative 2.2 stays. And instead of this minus 1.7, I'm going to make it a plus. And I'm going to make it the opposite of positive 1.7, which gives me negative 1.7. And I put it in parentheses just to keep track that I've changed the sign of that number. And then I'm going to add 8. So now you can see I have three numbers that I'm adding. I have negative 2.2 plus a negative 1.7 plus 8. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do is work with this part. Just like using my order of operations, I go from left to right, and it's all addition now. So I have two negative numbers. When I'm adding two numbers that have the same sign, then the sign stays with the answer. So it's going to be a negative number, and I'm simply going to take the two numbers 2.2 and 1.7, and I'm going to add those two together. Now remember, with decimals, it's important that I just line up where the decimal points are, and then I can add and then bring down the decimal point where they are. So 2 plus 7 gives me 9, and 2 plus 1 gives me 3. And remember, because it was a negative, they were both negatives, my answer is going to be negative, right? So I have a negative 3.9. and I am going to add 8 to it. Now I'm adding two numbers that have different signs, right? I have a negative 3.9 and I have a plus 8. So remember, when we're adding two numbers with different signs, I take the absolute value, I just take those numbers without their signs, and I subtract the smaller one from the larger one. And since this 8 doesn't have a decimal, it's like putting the decimal at the end of the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract. I'm going to take 8.0, that's the larger number, 3.9, that's the smaller number, and I'm going to do my subtraction. Again, I have to line up my decimal points. So I'm going to borrow 0, I'm going to borrow a 1 that goes to 7, so that 10 minus 9 is 1, and I have 7 minus 3 is 4, so I have 4.1. Oh, that doesn't look very good, does it? We'll make it a little bit better. So it's 4.1. And the answer is going to be positive 4.1, because the absolute value, the sign of the larger number wins, right? So my 8 is bigger than 3.9, and since 8 was positive, my answer is going to be positive. So that's simply going to give me positive 4.1.